Subscribe to our YouTube channel and don't forget to press the bell icon to get all the latest updates.
Alongside the coronavirus pandemics, politics is feeling the ripples as well. There are those who were with the Congress party, like spokesperson and often the face of the party on national media, Sanjay Jha, who said that the Congress party was literally rudderless in its response to the pandemic. There has also been growing controversy over why Rahul Gandhi would choose to skip a defense meeting of all things at a time when India has been locked in battle with China. Sanjay Jha, who used to be called a sycophant of the Gandhi family, now finds himself sacked for writing one critical column. Why did the party react like that? Is the party, and in particular the Gandhi family, unable to hear any criticism of itself? Was this not a moment when an effective opposition could have actually put the government on the mat over a range of issues? To talk about this experience from being called a courtier of the Gandhi family to now finding himself on the outsides of it as Sanjay himself. Sanjay, were you surprised when you were sacked?
Well, to be honest, all I did was that, like Barkha Dutt, who found her mojo story, I was very passionate to see the Congress find its mojo back. And so the article was written with, I think, a deep internal passion. When you care, you get agitated, you get angry when things are not going the way you believe it ought to. Yes. And I don't think this was my own personal opinion, Barkha. I've been talking to a lot of people in the Congress party, senior leaders, many of them in Lutyens, Delhi, and who have been voicing their concern, their apprehensions, etc. And I realized that how often are we going to just indulge in these private confabulations when the challenge has to be made public? So I decided to, kind of spell the cat. And ultimately, somebody has to stand up and take the risk. That's what I did.
So let's talk about the column that got you sacked. You spoke about the Congress response being rudderless, in terms of how it was politically responding to the pandemic. What did you in particular find rudderless?
Well, Barkha, frankly, there were two columns I wrote. One was in the month of March and one in the month of June. You see, when you look at Mr. Modi's government as on today, frankly, pre-pandemic, we all know that the entire NPR, CAA, NRC story had fractured the country and our social polity. There was a genuine public protest happening all over the country until the pandemic came. Now, you look at post-pandemic, it was pretty obvious that the economy, when you have such an early lockdown, there would be severe repercussions on the economy because you can't sustain a country with, almost 350 million people living below the poverty line and the economy at a standstill. The pandemic, in the early days, India seemed to be riding a wave. Mr. Modi came on national television and almost sounded like a triumphalist winner or a warrior. You can see that today we are going to reach 7 lakhs in a couple of days. Look at the fact that with China, you have had a very, in my opinion, a very ham-handed manner in which India has handled the entire Galwan Valley, kind of violent incident. Yeah. What does it tell you? It tells you that end of day, Mr. Modi's governance has been a mammoth failure. The Congress has actually spent a lot of its arsenal and ammunition in social media ad hominem attacks on Mr. Modi. Now, I do understand that in this time, you can't really hit the street. There are restrictions.
You can. No, you can. I've been on the street for more than 3 months. And if Mr. Gandhi or his sister wanted, this was the moment when instead of sitting on Zoom, they could have gone out, walked with the migrant workers on the highways, met them in the bastis, been out in the villages as the workers return. They could have been in the hospitals. As far as I know, they have not got off Zoom.
So that's exactly my point.
If you want to, you can.
You can. And that's exactly what I was going to come to. That one recognizes that perhaps it is not like the good old times where you could just organize a massive protest and hit the streets. But it was not impossible. And I think what has happened is that over the last, several years, I would say even before we lost in 2014, Barkha, I think the Congress party's organizational foundations have become so fragile today that I think, it's become one bureaucratic, cholesterol-infested party. Everyone waits for some command to come from Delhi. And you can't take on the might of this monstrous, formidable machine of the BJP. Sitting in a high command in New Delhi with all the good intentions you may have. There is a lack of decentralization, and I therefore pose these points. And I'm glad, Barkha, you have very honestly introduced me as somebody who was seen as very close to Mr. Rahul Gandhi and Priyanka Gandhi Vadra. I actually entered the Congress pre-2004 Congress victory. I actually entered when the Congress was written off and the BJP was expected to win in the India shining face. So I know, a lot of people in the Congress for a long time. If today I stand up and say that the Congress needs to renew itself, transform itself, and be the pragmatic game changer, it clearly is not just me alone. I'm very, very upset at the way we have gone.
Is the problem, and I ask you this because I also have many friends on the insides of all parties, having been a reporter now for 25 years almost. Is the problem the Gandhi family? Is the problem the party?
I would say that the leadership definitely has a role to play. The buck stops at the top. I've been in the corporate world for a long time to know that you can't blame your deputy, you can't blame your team, you can't, you just pass on the onus of any disastrous performance to anybody else. The buck stops at the top, and that's the way it ought to be. I mean, for example, when Mr. Rahul Gandhi resigned after the 2019 Lok Sabha rout, I felt that was a very morally authoritative call. It was a call in Indian politics very few people take. But to answer your question, I believe the CWC, which has got some very, very good people who are very keen to see a Congress resurrection, also has people who are very happy with a status quo and let's not be in a hurry to change. Let's wait for Mr. Modi and Mr. Shah to fail, and we'll come on an anti-incumbency. After all, only Pandit Nehru won 3 terms in a row. I mean, there are people who have got this very regressive, conservative mindset. I don't think the Congress can actually survive this. And I am worried, Barkha, because at the end of the day, I think when Rahul Gandhi quit and he said that I'm not coming back and nobody from my family will come back, and now it's more than a year, what kind of a message are we sending to the people of our country and to our workers?
If you had to identify one thing that you think Rahul and Priyanka have done grossly wrong, what would that be?
I would say that, they could have been a lot more decisive. The writing is on the wall. With every passing day, Barkha, I think the gap between the Congress and the BJP is widening. And I say Congress because even if we have performed dismally over the last couple of years, we remain by default the principal opposition party. And it's a pan-India party, even if it's got completely deracinated in various parts. The fact is that I think you've got to take decisions. If a decision is wrong, you can always correct it. But not taking a decision, allowing, this whole laid back, lackadaisical, drift to happen, meandering into becoming moribund. And that's a serious damage to the party's morale. In Mumbai, you go to Bihar, you go to Odisha, you go to Chennai. I've had people, Barkha, in Uttar Pradesh, where I go very often, or maybe in Tamil Nadu, where people say that we have been out of power for years together, for decades, and yet they are willing to fight for the Congress party. Are we leveraging that goodwill? I don't think so.
Do you believe that there's a tone deafness in going on invoking the family? You can't have this entire storm happening over nepotism in Bollywood, which is playing out. Yeah. And then have a Priyanka Gandhi Vadra stand up and introduce herself as Indira's granddaughter. There's a dissonance. There is a dissonance. There is an entitlement that conveys.
Well, Barkha, let me be very honest, and I want to be forthright on your program. There is this whole grand myth which has been created, possibly because that's the history of the Congress party, that if you have somebody who is not from the Gandhi family, I mean, their contribution has been remarkable for the Congress party. I don't deny that. I don't think anybody is trying to contradict that. But to say that the Congress party will crack up or fracture or will not succeed if nobody from the Gandhi family is the president or holding a key portfolio, I really don't buy it. I think, over the last several years, I've known a lot of people within the party, both young, middle-aged, old, veterans, whatever you call them. I think today there is talent within the party. If they are given a chance, the Congress party will not only do well, I think they'll bounce back with a vengeance.
Why isn't there a mutiny in the Congress? Why do you feel partly responsible for having created a culture of sycophancy around one family? Do you look back and wish you'd done it differently?
I do feel that possibly. I mean, I should have rather kind of raised some issues more aggressively in the past in an internal forum. But that's the problem. Those internal forums, if they are probably existing, nobody knows how they function. And I do feel, Barkha, that there are people within the party who feel the apprehension, the anguish, the angst of a party which is withering away in front of their eyes, and they're keen that something needs to be done. I've always been stunned by the fact that there are such smart young adult politicians who feel so reluctant to speak out in public. And I'm like, for God's sake, we're a democracy. This is the Congress party where, I have written in the articles, Pandit Nehru criticizes himself. Feroz Gandhi gets a finance minister from Mr. Nehru's cabinet to resign on corruption charges. I mean, what a great party this is in terms of its legacy. Why are we so hesitant to speak up? So I told myself, Barkha, time to bell the cat. I don't care for the consequences.
What would you describe the Gandhi's present leadership style as?
I would say, they're not being able to probably, in my opinion, get a long-term vision for the party in place. And
You're still being very diplomatic.
No, I'll come to that. A lot of people laugh and they mock terms like vision as if it's some kind of an abstract, nebulous term, that can be always corrected in one brainstorming session. But, I always believe that the Congress party today lacks the leadership, the political will to recognize that if you want the Congress party to survive, you need to win. Politics is not about, getting a runner-up trophy and, celebrating your silver medal. And the fact is, with every election that we have lost, it's the BJP's ideology that has actually got more deeply entrenched. I'll be very honest with you. When you look at the BJP in 2014, they got 31% of the vote share. And people said, oh my God, what a spectacular performance. And I know many people in the Congress party, Barkha, told me that 31% will see a minimum 10% anti-incumbency. They're bound to come to 27. You know what? The BJP has gone from 31 to 38.5%. Yeah. The message is, if you want your ideology to be there, you got to win elections. And the Congress party today, Barkha, lacks hunger. If I were to say where the political leadership of the party has failed, is you lack the hunger. I would have liked this party to be angry when you lose. I was there on the 22nd or 23rd of May when the verdict came out in 2019. And you know what? I came back feeling depressed and low. But in AICC, I found people as behaving as if it was business as usual. It was no big deal that we lost the second election in the way we did. This party needs to get angry. I want to see Congress a lot more agitated. They're not.
Do you think there'll be a mutiny in this party against the Gandhi family?
I think there is a lot of silent remonstrance already. I think it'll be pretty myopic, or shall we say foolhardy, of anybody in the Congress party to believe that there is no simmering discontent, if I can use that cliche. The fact of the matter is that why does that collective voice of such brilliant talent not find a unanimous opinion in a public platform foxes me. But I'll share something with you. A very popular leader, in fact, somebody who comes on television very often, said something very interesting or cryptic to me just 2 days ago. He said, I'm glad you're battling it out, but you know why some of us are not able to come and publicly side with you? And I said, tell me. And he said, because many of us distrust each other. And I was like, well, God save the Queen.
What do you believe, or what do you think of Rahul Gandhi's deciding to become a conversationalist via Zoom? What do you think he's trying to convey?
Well, I do believe that Mr. Gandhi and the Congress party in the initial phase, when he got branded, as Pappu by the BJP IT cell, and then everybody from the BJP, always, remarkable in the way they handle perceptions. I think they destroyed his personal brand. I think both the Congress and Mr. Gandhi underestimated the damage that it was creating. So much so that when Mr. Gandhi made very legitimate, extremely cerebral, intelligent points, people found something to rebuke or to ridicule him by. And in politics, you know it better than me, Barkha, perceptions matter, sometimes more than reality. And I do believe that all these conversations with eminent people, including nurses and so on, have definitely improved his personal brand. Will it help the organization at the grassroots level? I'm not so sure about that.
And what about Priyanka Gandhi Vadra's lack, in my opinion, of political instinct in waiting for the government to ask her to vacate a house that she was no longer entitled to? Why would you, in today's day and age, not just move out on your own?
Well, that's a personal question. I know Priyanka reasonably well. I do believe that, unlike some of the other politicians, she's capable of taking the bull by the horns. Now, why, probably...
Where has she? Where has she done that? Even after her loss, even after the loss in Amethi in UP, she blamed party workers in Raebareli. That rally, we all remember.
Yeah, I think she needs to be given a little more time. If you ask me, her debut, the Congress party, she was a great political asset, is a great political asset. But I think the Congress party mindlessly brought her into a minefield in Uttar Pradesh in the pre-2019 election. I think her launch never really happened.
You still don't accept that the very idea of the Gandhi family being this glue of the Congress party is today an anachronism that Indian voters are not responding well to.
I accept that actually. Let me tell you, I accept that, which is why I have become now a very public proponent of the fact that we need to move on. I do maintain that when Mr. Rahul Gandhi said, I'm not coming back, and no member of the Gandhi family is coming back, this is and continues to remain for the Congress an opportunity to now move ahead with a new leadership and make sure that, ultimately in politics, it's all about ambition, Barkha. Everyone wants to be the president, the prime minister, or whatever. And I do believe that the Congress party gives a chance to any of these young leaders. If you look at the world leaders today, they are all in the 30s and early 40s.
But like who? Like who? Name a leader you think could lead the party if the Gandhis vacated.
Well, I have a couple of names in mind. Let me tell you the one name, the two names that have always hit me wherever I have gone. I'm not talking about just the urban Mumbai, people think the private club and, this whole glitterati crowd. But across the length and breadth of this country, including from Congress workers, the two names that cropped up over the last, even before 2019 defeat, were Jyotiraditya Scindia and Sachin Pilot, the constant names that emerged consistently. Now, Jyotiraditya has left. Along with that, a Madhya Pradesh government has disappeared. For a party that's in opposition and needs to have states, I thought that was a preposterous surrender, along with Karnataka, by the way. And I don't want to tell you that now, if Jyotiraditya is gone, frankly, you have only one default option to play by.
Do we see you moving to the BJP?
Well, I want to say this upfront. One of the reasons that, I actually say that at the beginning of all the programs that I've gone to, but I'll say it in yours. I am not leaving the Congress party, even if the Congress party were to sack me and remove me from the primary membership. And I'm not joining any other political party either, because there's been a lot of rumors that I'm joining the JDU. I'm not.
Okay. Let me ask you finally, you've called the Congress ostrich-like, you've said rudderless on the pandemic, you've said the response on China has been completely out of sync with what people are feeling. For Mr. Gandhi to skip the defense meeting is a walkover for the BJP. What is it? Is it an ideological problem? Is the dissonance ideological? Is it that mainstream centrist space is just not taken by the Congress, and therefore as the country pivots right, because that's what's happening, the country is pivoting right and the Congress seems to be pivoting left, and there's this vast space in the middle that nobody's taking.
And, Barkha, in my opinion, this is actually the time where India actually would like a centrist ideology to come into play. I'll give you one example. I recently tweeted on the fact that if the government of the day wants to privatize railways, it's a good idea. Frankly, privatization, liberalization is the Congress construct. That's what Dr. Manmohan Singh was celebrated for. We have walked away from that. Even if you look at China, the reason, there's no harm in questioning Mr. Modi and the government. There are issues where this government has been terribly opaque and ham-handed. I think we should question them. Of course we should. I think Mr. Gandhi's several questions have been, frankly, on the point. But we also got to recognize the reality that China today is hegemonic. It has been seen by people all over the world as a country that's destroyed them on the coronavirus. Now, you got to look at the larger perception. And, no matter what Mr. Modi's errors might be, or the BJP may have goofed up, which is a fact, to say that any political leader of this country will surrender an inch of Indian space, I'm not ready to buy that. I also wrote that just because Mr. Modi as a chief minister made ridiculous, absurd, outrageous comments on Dr. Manmohan Singh, he was not right. No prime minister of this country would compromise our national security. That's where I differed with the way I think the Congress attacked the government.
Final question. If Rahul or Priyanka were to pick up the phone and call you, you would say what to them?
I would tell them, why don't you just be part of a winning team? I'll tell you what I'll tell them, Barkha. I will tell them, Sachin Tendulkar was a great player. You and I talked a lot in cricket next, so I'm thinking of cricket right away. Tendulkar was a great player, the greatest the world had seen. But in 2000, Barkha, when he realized that his captaincy was making India lose, you know what he did? He resigned as a captain. The BCCI had no guts to ask him to go. And Saurav Ganguly became a captain. Saurav Ganguly created the renaissance of Indian cricket. And now let me tell you the best part. Tendulkar's unrealized ambition was to be part of a World Cup winning team.
Mhm.
In 2003, he was part of a runner-up World Cup team in Johannesburg with Saurav Ganguly.
Mm.
Ultimately, his dream came true with a MS Dhoni as captain in 2011 in Mumbai, and Dhoni was decades, at least 10 to 14 years his junior. So it's better to be part of a winning team rather than lead a team that is actually a runner-up.
So let Sachin Pilot be the Dhoni or the Ganguly, is it?
I mean, the Sachin and Sachin coincidence probably is by default.
I'm glad you retained your sense of humor and your allegories. Sanjay Jha, good luck. Whatever you're doing next, pleasure talking to you.
Thank you, and you too. Bye-bye.
Thank you.